my god! Okay, it's happening!
Wipe is coming, and if you're like me, you're coming too. To tell you the truth, I haven't touched Tarkov in months. All my friends stopped playing, or they moved to PvE, or they finally found a relationship. But just like milkshakes, Wipe brings all the boys back to the yard. Now, you'd think for a game so centered around progression, wiping would make most players quit, and yet we keep crawling back. So why is it that resetting the game is so enticing? It's because Tarkov isn't just an extraction shooter anymore. It's actually a roguelike.
Huh?
Let's compare Tarkov to my favorite roguelike deck builder, Slay the Spire. When you die in Slay the Spire, you start over from the beginning, losing all your cards and items. When you die in Tarkov, your friends steal your shit. The reason I want to emphasize permadeath, however, is because of how it interacts with the concepts of stakes and consequences. Yes, death is in fact a very important and interactive part of the games. Take for example, the bonfire system from the Dark Souls series. For those unfamiliar, resting at a bonfire will full heal you, restore your meds, and act as your next respawn point. This sounds pretty forgiving, but remember that the Dark Souls games are fundamentally hard. They need to have a respawn system. Imagine if Dark Souls had permadeath. Everyone would hate it, no one would buy the games, FromSoft would go bankrupt. On the other hand, if death had no consequences, dying would just feel annoying, and we all eventually just brute force our way through the game. Unless you're Kai Cenat. The bonfire system solves this conundrum with how death interacts with your souls. You can kind of think of them like your rubles, but the main difference is that you also use them to level up your skills. You need to be able to spend them to get stronger. Dying makes you drop all your souls, which can be retrieved like in Minecraft. However, if you die again without getting your souls back, you lose them forever. This gives death a real consequence, with the souls you're carrying around being the stakes. Think about all the times you're full of loot, or you just found a quest item that's been gatekeeping you for days. This tension is the stakes of the loot and the consequences of dying. This tension is what makes Tarkov so exciting. Dying in Tarkov doesn't just mean losing your gear, it also means losing potential rubles, quest progression, EXP, and all the time you just spent playing the raid, plus the time you spent gearing up and loading in. It's the element of death that spices up everything else in Tarkov. Just walking around in a raid is exciting because you never know when someone else is eyeing you down from a bush. After each fight, you start adding more cards into your deck, getting stronger and stronger with each successful encounter. In Tarkov, you start hoarding so much you're forced to buy more stash lines. In all seriousness, looting is a core mechanic and the main means of getting stronger. You can only take on harder enemies with better gear, which in turn drop better and better loot, creating a satisfying gameplay loop that keeps you moving forward. This cycle of growth is what makes roguelikes exciting and replayable, and Tarkov gives me the same feelings as I progress through each wipe. One of the keys to success in Slay the Spire is planning a route through the map. Sound familiar? But say you're presented with an opportunity that's hard to resist. You got the loot, but now you're in a tough spot. You can't always avoid randomness either. No matter how hard you try and plan out a route, there are times you're forced to pivot. Being flexible and adapting on the fly are key and extremely rewarding when you barely make it out of a raid or a run. As you play Slay the Spire, you'll start to unlock more card options. These new and unique cards allow you to really define your playstyle. Similar to how Tarkov's traders and flea market allow you to really customize how you gear up and play the game. Freedom and creativity are a huge part of both games, and core to their replayability. These fights are hard, and ask you to really think about how you approach them.
What's up?
Each boss in Slay the Spire has unique attack patterns that really require you to think ahead about what you're bringing to the fight. Take for example, the Guardian. This guy hits really hard and really often, but if you have enough damage, you can break his attack patterns, forcing him into defense mode, making your fight a lot easier if you build damage. Just like in Tarkov, you also really need to think about how you approach bosses and the best way to beat them. Each run of Slay the Spire is kind of like a raid in Tarkov. You load in with some knowledge of what to expect, but you can't predict everything. You know what you have to do, but are given a lot of freedom in how you approach the end goal, or extraction. Now, stay with me here. What happens after you win? Slay the Spire has an ascension system. Each ascension level actually makes the game harder. The game will start to add curses into your deck, lower your starting health, give you shittier loot, etc. The game gets more and more difficult, but feels more and more rewarding. You can really feel the satisfaction of beating each ascension as you rise up in levels. Tarkov also has these benchmarks, such as leveling up traders, unlocking Kappa, and if you're crazy, Lightkeeper quests. These challenges are what keep us grinding. So every time Tarkov wipes, it feels like I'm starting a brand new roguelike run. A really long, months-long run of Tarkov. So why wouldn't I just reset my account for the same experience? It's because Tarkov at its core is still a multiplayer experience. At least for me. I tried PvE and it just doesn't hit the same. Each wipe means that we're all starting from point A again. I get to restart the same journey, but now with my experiences and knowledge from the previous wipes. It's like a giant rat race, and that's core to my Tarkov experience. So before I finish this video, let me ask you this. Why do you play Tarkov? Is it for the gunplay? The quest progression? Do you just like winning? Was it even fun? I remember when I used to play battle royales like PUBG, my favorite part was always the first 10 minutes of each round. It's when everyone's scrambling around with shitty guns and like 20 bullets fighting for basic loot. The fights are dirty, each shot meant something. Sure, the late game fights were intense in their own way, but it's the struggle that makes the victory so sweet. That's why I'll always come back, because in Tarkov, the tough times are the best times. Hey guys, that was my first time trying a video essay, so let me know in the comments below how you felt about it. If it's ass, let me know it's ass. If you liked it, you know. And don't forget to let me know in the comments below how you really feel about Tarkov. If you play it just because your friends play, you know, do you just like ratting? Sometimes I just like extract camping just for the hell of it. Let's all see you next time.